Everything.
Hey!
Hey! The live stream has started!
Yep, we're here doing our Q&A for our Indiegogo campaign. Wait for a few people to join in and we'll get started here.
1 week down. Already.
Yeah, I think last time I looked at it was 15%?
I think that's about right, yeah.
15% of the way funded. Decent start.
We're doing alright. We've got some people that have helped out already, so thank you to those. Yeah, we're really excited, and we got a handful of good questions contributed here, so
yeah,
you're going to get to know a little more about us professionally and personally.
So, and then this will be part 1 of the Q&A, and then in 2 weeks?
I believe 2 weeks from now.
Two Saturdays from now, part 2 will be out, and that'll have Chris, AJ, and Patton.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be answering your guys' questions as well. So, get started?
I don't know how we track whether people are in here. Oh, we've got one viewer, I see. Hi! Oh, well, we're featuring the medallion perk recently, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, these are handmade by Chris. I'm not sure if it's going to focus. Might not be the best, but we've got an awesome picture up on the Facebook page, and they're cast out of aluminum. Pretty light, actually, for the size, so they work really well as a necklace. And that is up for $25 on the Indiegogo, along with a couple other goodies mixed in with that. So, 25 to 25%. Can we make it happen? I think we can.
Alright.
Yeah, let's dig into the questions.
Alright. We got a few good ones here that people have messaged us or commented on various different videos.
A couple
here.
in the email.
A couple emails, yeah. Number 1, it says, other than Trans-Siberian Orchestra, we don't get too many symphonic metal Christmas songs. Would you consider doing a couple songs or maybe an EP of Christmas songs in Aftertime style? Or is there not enough people that would be interested?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Dark Sarah's Christmas song. It's based on the 12 Days of Christmas, and that is so funny, and I love that one.
Within Temptation did one too.
Oh, yeah.
Like
We're gonna have a gothic Christmas. So, yeah, I mean, they're out there. As far as for us, though...
I guess there's no real plans to release anything. I mean, it's not completely out of the question, but we're fairly busy at the moment with our full-length album and the music video and the Indiegogo campaign, so we're kind of...
I wouldn't be opposed to a Halloween album, maybe.
That would be cool.
It's a little more up our alley, I think. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Next one we've got, this is just kind of directed at everybody in the band. What kind of books do you read? I collect books to the point where I've been called a hoarder. I have several bookshelves full, but I'm definitely into most series of books like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I read a lot of Stephen King. The King Killer Chronicles is one of my favorites. Eventually we will get book 3.
I haven't read them yet.
They
keep telling me
we'll get to it. Chris and I have read the series, and we're trying to get Brad into it now. Yeah, I'll read pretty much anything except Westerns.
I guess I don't really have a favorite book. My favorite author is Stephen King. I really like that. Some pretty decent movie adaptations too. I think we watched Misery
a couple weeks
ago.
Yeah, and the new It's coming out. I'm so excited for that, even though I'm terrified of clowns.
And I think The Mist just started on TV. I haven't checked it out yet though. But yeah, I really like Stephen King. That's basically the last couple things I've read, but like I said, they want me to read the
King
Name
Killer
of the Wind.
Chronicles. Yeah. The first book is Name of the Wind. The second one is The Wise Man's Fear. I think there's a name for the third book, but we don't really have a release date for that yet. So,
but yeah,
that's that.
So, all right. Where do you see Aftertime in 5 years? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
By then, we for sure should have our full-length album out. It's a slow writing process, but we're taking it slow for a reason. Making sure it's the best it can be.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully doing some touring. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. 5 years out, we could be hitting up Europe and maybe Asia, South America, Aftertime World Tour in 5 years. Can we do it?
Hopefully working on if we get the first album out, next year or so, hopefully be working on albums 2, possibly 3 by that point too.
Mm-hmm.
Get a bunch more music out for you guys.
If we stay the course as we have been so far with staying independent, I know a big goal for all of us is to be able to live off of the band's income and not have to work other jobs on the side to help pay the bills. I think that's a dream for any independent musician, is to live from your art. And I think 5 years would be a relatively realistic timeline for that. So that would be pretty nice.
That would be very nice. Take the next one.
Let's see. With 2 releases under your belt, what are the biggest differences between The Fall of Light and World We've Lost? I think anybody that's heard both albums knows that there's a big difference just in the quality of the songwriting, the quality of how it was produced. We wanted to make World We've Lost kind of bridge the gap between the songs we'd written and released under Fall of Light and the songs that we are writing and will release for the full-length album. So we really stepped up our game with who we work with that's already kind of been established in the industry, like Jacob Hansen.
He did Epica, Amaranth. He's done
some Delane stuff, I think.
Yeah, Delane, Diabolus Musica. Pretty big name. We were really happy we could work with him. Yes,
and we also had our orchestrations arranged by Lukey Noble, who is of Illuminata fame, and he's done some orchestrations for other bands like Serenity.
Dragony.
Definitely a very skilled musician. Just finished up some schooling here in the States, so just really having a team of professional people to work on the new songs. And from my perspective, most of the Fall of Light songs were already written by the time I joined the band, so although I did a little bit of tweaking here and there with lyrics and some vocal line stuff, I really got to dig in with World We've Lost to put my songwriting talents into the band, and that was a really great experience, and it helps shape our overall sound, I think.
Yeah, it's much... Even though it's just a single with a couple B-sides, the sound in it is so much more elaborate and...
bombastic.
Yeah, it works very well live, too. Especially we got a lot of comments on how much people like the new Masquerade live.
Yeah, that really seems to... That song specifically, because one version of it is on Fall of Light, and then the new and improved version is on World We've Lost. That's really how people can tell how far we've come in just from our first to second release, and you can kind of get an idea of how far we can still go with the full length. So it's really exciting.
Alright. Can we expect a solo album from Sarah? I'll let you take that one.
I don't know. I'd like to do something like that. I'm in the process of getting something set up where I can start releasing some covers, on YouTube and elsewhere. Really just have a whole bunch of songs that I want to tackle on my own, and I'm not going to force the guys to try and learn a dozen covers of, other symphonic metal and classic metal and stuff that isn't even metal. I know a lot of other women in metal have gone on to do successful solo careers too, so it's not something I'd be opposed to. I just don't see it happening soon. Maybe we can add that to the 5 years from now list.
Possibly. Alright, another one for Sarah. Who was the first person you told about being After Time's new lead singer? That was back in 2014.
Yeah, at the end of 2014. Man, I remember exactly where I was when I got the Facebook message. First from Brad, but I was working at the time, so I didn't answer. And so then Chris messaged me from his account. I was working at a gas station at the time, and I just saw it, and I didn't really know how to react at first, but I know my then boyfriend, but now husband, Eric, was the first one I told about those messages. I just kind of called him after work, and I was like, so these guys are in this band, and they want me to maybe be the singer for it? So then we had our meeting at a Denny's, and I'm pretty sure Eric was also the one I first told when I actually accepted to join the band, so he has that honor. Here, I'll read one.
I think the next one's for you, too.
Oh, well, thank you guys. For me, how did you approach singing the songs that were already written prior to joining?
You kind of touched on that a little bit, but...
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to respect, the songs that were already written and not try to jump in and start changing everything. The original singer kind of had a hand in some of the songwriting as well, specifically with Masquerade, and I wanted to respect that. The challenge was because the original singer was also... A lot of the songs were written in an alto range, and I'm a soprano, and I didn't have a lot of experience singing in a lower range, so that was kind of a challenge to be able to develop that range of my voice so that I could sing the songs well, and just have that variety in my range. So it was a nice challenge for me, actually, to start tackling those songs, and even though they're in a little unfamiliar territory, I think it overall made me stronger as a singer.
Okay.
You want me to read another one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We're totally winging this. How do you approach starting to write a new song? That's a good one, actually.
You want to go first, or?
I mean, you come up with the original ideas for most of the songs, so why don't you answer first?
Each one's a little different. A lot of the times I'll be sitting down at a piano and I'll come up with like the vocal line or a main melody that the orchestra might play, and it's written as piano, and then I'll take it into our software that we use to write up our sheet music, and I'll divide it up amongst some of the instruments, and that's how a lot of the melodies are born. When it comes to rhythm, I really like to actually have my guitar there when I'm writing. I don't like to write on the computer and then see if I can actually do it. Yeah, so it's guitar and piano is what I start with. I leave like drums, I leave for AJ. Her and I work on the vocal melody based off of the orchestral melody that might be there. It'll work itself around that, or
we bounce
vice
ideas
versa.
off each other for lyrics and stuff like that.
Yeah, lyrics are kind of difficult sometimes.
They can be, yeah.
I've had quite a few times where I've written a vocal melody here, and then we throw the lyrics on, and it just doesn't work at all. So then you gotta tweak and fix things before it.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's not a fast process. It takes a while.
Yeah. I don't know. For the songs that I've written, I've always started at the piano. It's my primary instrument, besides voice, of course. And there have been countless times, and my parents can attest to this as well, that I'll just be sitting at the piano and messing around or playing some other song, and then I'll hit a chord or I'll hit a string of notes in kind of a melody, and that spark will just happen, and you'll realize you've got something there, and you just kind of sit and you chew on it for a while, and you mess around with it a little more. So even though our songs, they incorporate so many different instruments, and they're often very complex, my writing process always starts with the piano and goes from there. And I know we've got a couple people lurking around in the chat here. Some people are in and out viewing. If you guys have any questions on the spot, Brad threw a comment in there that feel free, drop them in the comments. We've got a couple we've gotten, prior to this, but if you guys want to ask us something, feel free. We're an open book. Or in my case, we're an open pile of books.
Did you have anything else for songwriting? Was that about it?
That's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I saved the lyrics for last, if at all possible.
Favorite movie scores or soundtracks? That might be even tougher than the previous question.
James Horner, rest in peace, is my favorite film composer. And because of that, and because I'm such a romantic sap, Titanic is probably my favorite film score. And it's not just because I'm a sap, but because the atmosphere of the movie is so captured by how the music is written, and that doesn't always happen with movies. You can have a good movie and good music, but one doesn't always remind you of the other. So that was kind of unique.
For me, I really like the 2006 remake of Poseidon. The soundtrack for that I like a lot. A couple of our old songs, actually, the inspiration for the orchestra came when I've listened to that. Otherwise, I like John Williams a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of hard not to.
How can you not?
I don't know if I specifically have a favorite, but I do like the Poseidon a lot. I do like a lot of just kind of those big, adventure-y, huge production type things. And I think it reflects a lot in our music too, is the film score feel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
a good film score helps tell the story, and that's kind of what we try to do with our music. Is we tell stories, and we want to give you that Indiana Jones or Gladiator. All of the really great movies also have really great soundtracks, and that's not an accident. So, fun fact before we move on, a couple years ago, 3 of my friends and I, if you're not aware, we're from Minnesota in the U.S., smack dab in the middle of the country. 3 of my friends and I, a few years ago, drove all the way out to Boston, Massachusetts on the East Coast to go see a John Williams concert. He was conducting the Boston Pops Orchestra, I believe. And that was such a cool experience. And my friends and I were all big band geeks, and we'd played some John Williams pieces in the past, so that was a really fun experience. What's next? How has the reception of World We've Lost been? Well, considering we have about 3 times as many of you now than we did when we released World We've Lost, I think it's gone over pretty well.
Yeah, reception has been very good. I think all the reviews I've seen have been positive online. And like I said earlier, when we play it live, people really like the new songs. Masquerade and World We've Lost get a lot of comments after the show. Forge of Destiny's gotten a couple. That's a fun one to do live too.
Yeah, we get a lot of crowd interactions, and we get the whole crowd jumping, and yeah.
But I mean, even the softer song, Reflection, that one, we've gotten a few messages and comments and stuff saying people really enjoy that one. It's a beautiful song.
It kind of highlights my voice since you guys only play about half the song.
Yeah, we don't come into the bridge or so.
And yeah, I mean, comments, reviews. We've had websites review the album, but then we've also gotten, so many Facebook reviews of the band in general, and they base that a lot off of the new music. So a lot of people have said we have a lot of potential, and it gets a lot of people seeing the long term for us as a band, and that's pretty good for what we wanted to accomplish with that single. So we're really happy that you guys like it, and that it was worth all the time and the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into it.
Yeah, it was a big production to do. Basically, I don't think it was even 2 weeks after we released Fall of Light. We were like, all right, let's jump right
What's
back
next?
in. And, okay, well, we're going right back into the studio after releasing the CD. So, yeah, it was a busy time. But it was a lot of fun, and it turned out really nice.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about it, there was only 8 or 9 months between when we released Fall of Light and when we released Lord We've Lost.
I don't even think a full year went by.
Just a few months.
So, and a lot of that was because of when we were producing Fall of Light, a couple things got delayed and stuff, so some of the World We've Lost songs were already written. It made it a lot easier to just jump straight into it when we released Fall of Light if a good portion was already written.
Yeah. Like updating Masquerade, for example.
Yep. But yeah, reception has been very good on it. So, all right, next one.
Else? When will you tour visit
Texas.
Well, this question says Texas. We've gotten a lot of Facebook messages and comments and stuff. People ask us to come to Texas and Canada and California, Florida, Kansas. I think I said that one.
Probably.
And even over in the UK and stuff. And touring is definitely something we think is the next step after this music video that we're doing. So we really want to get out of our state. The challenge for that lies in that it costs a lot to tour.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if we don't yet have a lot of connections for bands in some of those other states. You got to account for time off work, gas, food, expenses you don't always think about, like, if something happens with, our transport or something. It's a lot of things you have to prepare for. So, although we would love to do it, there's some things that would need to fall into place first, especially to get overseas.
Yeah.
But in the near future, could probably keep your fingers crossed soon for something, around our state. We were close to Wisconsin has some nice venues. Iowa has some nice venues. We might make some connections in Nebraska. That's realistically where we're looking right now. So if you know of any other bands kind of along our lines, in states kind of in those areas, let us know. We want to make some connections. We want to make some band friends. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we would love to get out and visit these places that people want us to see us at, because there is a demand. So yeah, we'll definitely get there someday.
And we'll let you know when we do.
For sure. Are there any plans to release a live DVD? Not at the moment, and a lot of that is just because our when we play live, we don't get a very long set list. It's like 25 minutes, I think, is typically what we get, about a half hour.
Yeah,
and,
so far.
That would probably be something that we would look into more if, or once we release the full-length album, because we'll have a lot more songs to choose from, too. It won't just be everything we can play. We can screw with the set list a little bit and change things around and make sure that if we're going to release it live DVD, it's going to be a very nice set list.
And until then, my father has actually been able to make it to every show of ours so far.
I think so, yeah.
And most of those, he tries to videotape for us, and the problem has been that he captures great video quality, but the sound quality hasn't always been, good enough for us to upload anywhere. So he has a new setup now that I think will work a lot better. So, depending on how our next few shows go, if he gets some good footage and sound, maybe we can just post some clips for now. So you guys, some of you that can't make it to an after-time show right now, you can at least see, what's in store when we do make it over. So
yeah. We got a comment here.
Andrew, hey. He says, do I hear an Astro Blood after-time tour? I would be down for that. I know you guys have gone around the block a few times, so they're another band that's from here in Minnesota. We are actually playing in a festival that Andrew's putting on next month. If you're in the area, Summer Collective Metal Fest. It's at the end of August, so
26th, I think.
I believe so.
Andrew,
it's the last Saturday, I believe.
Andrew's
so,
at the 26th. I'm pretty sure that's when it is.
I don't have a calendar in front of us.
Yeah,
right now.
I wrote it down, but I don't have it in front of me.
But yeah, I'd be down for anybody that wants to tour with us.
So, alright,
What else do we got? Can you tell a short story of the formation of Aftertime? How'd you come up with the name Aftertime? So that's a two-part question. Well, Brad's one of the founders, so I'll let him take this.
Back in November, December of 2011, I had met Chris at a job we were both working at. And we decided that we wanted to do some music together. We really didn't know what it was going to be. So we started doing some just basic rehearsal type things, and we started writing. The first song actually was Skeleton Key. That was the first song we started writing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, Andrew says yes, it's the 26th.
Okay, cool.
So, mark it on your calendars.
But yeah, it was quite slow the first couple months. It was just kind of whenever we had time, we would work on some stuff. We didn't have a singer, a drummer, or a bassist. It was just two guitarists, so you can only get so far. But it picked up a little bit when we got our first lineup. Things started to pick up again, and we finished the first versions of the song that would be on Fall of Light. So those were written, and then there was some lineup changes, and Sarah joined, so
yep.
Some songs were changed, and then we were finally able to record it. So that was a little bit about the formation. The name, I kind of remember how we came up with it. I know we went through a couple different ideas until we found one that stuck, and I think I came across the word Aftertime means a time for the future, or something along those lines. And I just kind of wrote it down as a possibility, and then the more we saw it, the more it stuck, until we decided that we actually wanted to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I think it works really well. And side note for, maybe some of our newer fans, please capitalize the T. Aftertime has a capital A and a capital T, and it's one word, and we may struggle with that for forever, but
it's one word.
For the record.
Oh,
we got another.
If you ever tour Southern States, Georgia, I will be there.
Thank you, John. I would love to get down to Georgia, somewhere nice and warm and coastal would be nice. And Atlanta, I know, has a couple of nice music festivals too, so that would be super nice.
Alright.
What else?
What bands do you draw your biggest influences from?
I think
there's a lot. We get compared to, obviously, the bigger name
Nightwish.
Yeah.
A lot of people say we sound like Epica sometimes.
And they are very big influences, actually. But we actually had to play with Epica last November.
Yep.
November, that was a really fun experience.
Yeah, one of our best shows, actually.
Yeah. Because they are very big influences on us. I actually, when I do the screams for the band, one of my big influences is Mark from Epica.
Mark
I
Jansen.
really like the way he does his screams. And then Nightwish is a big one. A lot of people in this genre. I don't think I can narrow it down to just a couple.
Yeah, but even outside of the genre, the film composers we mentioned, James Horner and John Williams and Hans Zimmer, those influence a lot of the orchestral writing, and sometimes the themes that we write in the music can sometimes draw from some of the movies they've scored. So it's a merging of two worlds.
Take one?
Yeah. Are you working on a new CD? Well, we've kind of already we've already mentioned that we're in the writing process for the full-length album. We've got one song totally done, another song basically done, about 3 or 4 more in the pipeline.
World We've Lost will be on the album too, so...
Yes, that'll be the lead single from that, so...
Can't give too much information about the album, it's still a little early. We do know it's going to be a concept album, so...
There'll be a thread tying all of the tracks together.
Yeah, and actually, we're not going to give hardly any information away about this, but we are working on a special project that we're keeping secret for probably until a little after we release our music video. Then we'll announce the other thing we've been working on. So we got 2 CDs in the works.
We're juggling a lot lately. But yeah, that'll be exciting once we're able to tell you more about that one too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we are working on one.
And
2. We're working on 2.
2. And as for the full length, a lot of it depends on funding and how our other projects go, but ideally, tentatively, right now, we'd like to see it released by the end of next year. But again, that's still kind of tentative.
Yeah. The other little bit of information I can give is a lot of people in this genre like the really long songs. This album is going to have 2.
2 very epic long songs.
Yeah. They were fun to write.
Very.
Alright. What is your favorite Aftertime song? Oh boy.
That's like picking a favorite child. I guess for me, it would have to be World We've Lost. Because that's the first song that I got to kind of help write. And that song alone has brought so many people to us. And I think it's, when we look back on this from years in the future, we'll be happy that was one of the songs that we, burst onto the scene with, and it's just one of those songs that always gets your blood pumping when you listen to it. I mean, because it's one of our songs, we've heard it probably several hundred, if not like 1,000 times, and it still doesn't get old. And that's really the sign of a good song.
Yeah. I think that one's my favorite too. I really like playing that one live.
Copycat.
I like playing that one live, and I like playing Masquerade live. But I mean, even the slower ones like Reflection, I really like, because it's a change. You listen to the album, you get a couple heavy songs, but then you go into a different mood, and it breaks things up, and it helps. But yeah, I would say my favorite's What We've Lost as well.
What was the most difficult song to write? Well, there's one I'm working on right now that's been extremely difficult, but as far as actually released and written songs, I'd say Forge Your Destiny.
That one we were still writing, like, almost until we went to record it. It was, there was a slow process with that one, but it turned out very nice. I would say the hardest one to write was Now we're back. I guess we lost connection temporarily.
Sorry.
So.
I guess we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, not all songs come easily.
No.
Even if, once you're through the process, they can still sound awesome in the end.
Yeah. The hardest one for me to write was probably Final Act off the Fall of Light. That one took a while, and that one was another one that was it was still like being tweaked and changed like as we were recording it, because we were finding parts that didn't really work, or
and some of the vocal lines got changed.
Yeah. But yeah, difficult songs come and go. The easy ones are the ones that are the surprise, actually. It's always surprising when I can sit down and write a song in a couple days. It's weird.
It's a good feeling, though. It makes the difficult songs so worth it.
So,
who does the most writing? I guess technically that would be you.
yeah.
Because you do a lot of the orchestration as well as the guitars, and then the rest of us kind of handle our own parts.
Yeah, I come up with like the main melodies of the songs, and some guitar parts, but like I said earlier when we were asked how songs are composed, each person kind of takes their own instrument. Like, I don't really try and write AJ's drum parts because I'm not a drummer. So
that would be a mess.
Yeah. And with Sarah's vocals, she'll either take them or we'll work together on them.
Mm-hmm.
The fun fact here is the scream parts that I do, I actually did not write the rhythm for any of those yet. They were written by Chris, the other guitarist. And then I was given them, and I kind of had to tweak a few things here and there because he didn't write any spots for me to breathe. But
breathing's important.
But yeah, I guess I do a lot of the writing now. But everybody does their part.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple more here.
Towards the end here, what was the first concert you ever went to? I'm trying to think.
Mine was Epica in for their Requiem for the Indifferent tour in 2012. I think was when they were here. First major concert, I guess. I'm sure I probably went to a couple other ones when I was littler.
Yeah, I was going to say, how far back do we want to go? Because
I probably can't remember them too
3
well.
years old, I know my parents took me to a Rafi concert. Yeah, I was definitely a metalhead back then, in toddlerhood. No, beyond that, my 15th birthday party, I think, we went to a venue here in the cities. Used to be called Club 3 Degrees, and then they changed it to Middle City Nights, and now it's nothing because
It closed.
sadness. But when it was still Club 3 Degrees, they kind of focused on not metal music, and my friends and I went to a Super Chick concert. That was what I was into in my preteens. My metal tendencies didn't quite develop until shortly before I joined the band, but I think it brings a good blend of experiences. So,
all right.
last one.
One more here. This one's for you, I guess. This person says, I really like the song you did with Bare Infinity. That was Orion's
yes.
Light.
Yes.
How was it working with them, and can we expect it again?
I love working with them. All the people in Bare Infinity are super fun to work with. They're really laid back, brilliant musicians. Ida Elena, she not only does Bare Infinity, but she does a lot of her own solo stuff. And she's in, I think, another ensemble based out of Germany. So the opportunity to work with them on their music was very, very fun. They gave me a lot of leeway with my part in the song, and I kind of gave them a bunch of different ideas. I would record some of the lines 3 different ways and then send them all of them, so they can pick whichever version they want.
I think you actually ended up recording the whole song too, and then they kind of just...
Yeah, I didn't know which parts of the song were going to be me and which parts were Ida, so they had me do the whole song through, and then it was still a little bit of a surprise for me once I got to hear it back for the first time, and it was so much greater than I even thought it was going to be already. So if the opportunity came up to work with them again, I think I'd take it in a heartbeat. They need to get their butts over to the US so we can tour together. And then we'll make it over to Europe too.
Yeah. So that was the last question that we had that was submitted to us before this live chat. So if anybody else has any, feel free to put them in the comments here.
Yeah, I know some people have joined since the last time we mentioned that, but if you've got any questions on the spot, shoot them to us in a comment right now. Make us have to think on our feet. If not, like we said, we're doing another one of these 2 weeks from now with Chris, AJ, and Patton, and we'll have some of the same questions and hopefully some new ones by then for them to answer. So if you can't think of any now, you got a couple weeks. Send them to us in a message or an email, and also the we wanted to let you know more about us, but we're also trying to keep the awareness to the Indiegogo campaign. It's only running through the month of July, so we are 1 week down already, and we've got a lot of perks that still haven't been claimed yet. We got 3 copies of the original Fall of Light album left. That is the $15 perk. So once those are gone, they are completely gone. We're not reprinting them. That will be it. And eventually they'll become a collector's item. So there's a few others that are only limited quantities. So sooner is definitely better than later to get your donations in. Yeah. So. And kind of like we mentioned in the little intro video we did for the campaign, sharing the campaign helps us immensely. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't think any of your friends are into metal or symphonic metal or anything like that, 1, you could definitely be surprised, and 2, just sharing those posts with a greater audience of people tricks Facebook into sharing that post with more of our own fans. It gets spread to more people. So really, the word of mouth factor really helps us out, even if you can't make a donation right now. Yeah, so
if you share the Indiegogo campaign, it also brings our score up in Indiegogo, so we show up higher on the list. When you search for music or music video or whatever you search for, our campaign will show up higher the more it's shared.
Yeah, it's called the Go-Go factor.
I think so.
So, yeah, that's how you can help us out. Thanks for listening in, and thank you to all of you who submitted questions to us. We love getting to let you know more about ourselves and building more of that relationship and community with you guys, because that's what this is all about.
Yep.
So, thanks guys. We'll see you again soon.
Yep. See you later.